Hello everyone, welcome to this webinar on content strategy development using mind mapping, and specifically we'll be touching upon LinkedIn and blogs. So we all know that content is king, but the moment we start or even think of starting creating content, the entire process of planning to execution seems like a very daunting task. So today, in this webinar, we will explore how mind mapping can revolutionize the way you create your content and make your workflow very creative and organized. The goal of this webinar is to equip you with tools, techniques, and tricks such that henceforth, whatever content or whatever piece of content you create is not only impactful, but it is also aligned to your objective, to your goals. So let's start this webinar. And in this webinar, as we progress, I will show you some examples of how exactly I use Xmind for my own LinkedIn strategy. So let me share the screen with you. So yes, before we begin, let me start with why. And there are key points here that why me? Why am I explaining to you, or why am I presenting on this topic, that is content strategy development for blogs on LinkedIn using mind mapping, particularly Xmind? So let me take you through a brief of my own story. So if you see that by profession, by education, I'm an engineer with my bachelor's, master's, and my doctorate degree in engineering. And I'm also certified as a Tony Buzan licensed instructor in mind mapping, currently the only one in India. I'm also certified in emotional intelligence. I'm also a mind mapping certified in several software tools. In creative thinking, I have around 13 plus years of teaching experience officially. And I say unofficially, I have been teaching since 22 years. Yes, I'm an educator, coach. I'm also a public speaker. I have given my TEDx talk. I'm a keynote speaker, and I have given several webinars and seminars. And the reason why I'm saying all of this to you is because whether I'm presenting a keynote, whether I'm presenting a webinar like this, whether I'm writing a book, I'm also an author who have published 2 books. Both of them were best-selling, Amazon best-selling books. So whatever I do, I use mind mapping extensively in every field in my day-to-day life. So hence I say that, yes, why me, and why it means so much to me to share my experience of how mind mapping has revolutionized the way I work, how it has made me more organized, how it has saved me tons of hours. And that's all I want to share with you also. So yes, I have written numerous articles, 30 plus scientific articles, and I've trained over 3,000 plus coaches, teachers, students who are writers, or they are academicians. So whatever is the purpose of anywhere, wherever they need to create some kind of content, I have helped people create that piece of content with ease and joy instead of making it a boring and daunting task. So if you can see, the list of people I have trained includes IT professionals, lawyers, doctors, trainers, executives, and directors of schools and colleges. So this is a little bit about me and how I got so intrigued by mind mapping. Initially, I thought it wasn't my cup of tea. But then during my doctoral thesis, when I had to read a lot of papers, when I had to write my thesis, which is more than 100 pages, and that is when I started using mind mapping extensively, and I saw the power of this tool. So, but why mind mapping, and how is mind mapping relevant to content strategy development? So there's a myth that mind mapping is mainly for note taking or just for content retention and recall. But the fact is that mind mapping is also for content mapping, where right from planning phase to delivery phase, mind mapping can help you do the entire task with a lot of ease, and you will start enjoying the process instead of feeling like it's a work. So yes, mind mapping is definitely a very important tool for content mapping. And the need, why we need mind mapping specifically for content strategy development, is because the 3 main challenges, or if I say a few of the challenges that we face whenever we create a piece of content, is one is time. Sometimes we need to create content, but we do not have that amount of time where we can get creative, or we can wait for the creative juices to flow and then we can start writing. No. We need to create content very fast in today's era. Second is thinking. You need to do a lot of critical thinking, creative thinking, and sometimes you have this creative block where you just feel that words are not coming out. So that is another challenge of content creation. And the third, or I would say the biggest challenge, is the lack of system. Often people think that content creation, it don't need any strategy. It's just like you feel inspired one day, you write something, the next day you don't feel inspired, you don't write. So no, when you don't have a system, you cannot be producing content, uh, you know, consistently. You have to wait for one of those days when you suddenly feel inspired and you write something, and maybe there may be several days or months where you don't feel inspired. Instead, if you have a strategy, if you have a system using mind mapping, the content can be produced every single day, whether you are writing a blog or LinkedIn or whatsoever, maybe a newsletter, magazine, or maybe you're a student, you're producing reports, whatever it is. So this is very important that we have a system. So that is a big challenge. And hence, to have good content, the key things are, these are the challenges. And any good content, if you see any piece of good content, you take a newspaper, you take a magazine, you take a book, or you take any of those online blogs and articles, you see that it will have three main important key elements. One is clarity. It's written with absolute clarity. It has a proper structure. It's not haphazard. And of course, the moment you read, you feel engaged, you get absorbed in it, and you start to read it till the end. From start to end, you don't miss any of the lines. That is what we say the key elements of a good content. So while all of this, we understand that, okay, mind mapping is for content mapping. We need mind mapping because we need to overcome these challenges of time, thinking, and lack of system. We also understand that what are the key elements of a good content, but why we need mind mapping and what is the relevance of mind mapping, particularly in terms of, uh, content strategy. So we know that any piece of content that you create, first it needs to be brainstormed. Yes, brainstorming is an important phase. Then you have to go for idea generation. Then you need to structure your article, blogs, even if it's a tweet or whatever, there needs to be some sort of structure, your signature structure maybe. And all of this together, when you have it, it creates a kind of content blueprint for you. So that is exactly why mind mapping is so relevant with content strategy development. So let's see a little bit more about it. So where can you use this, mind mapping? So whether you are giving a speech in public, you are writing a book or article, presentation, reports, videos, blogs, LinkedIn, and basically just everywhere, wherever you're creating content, you can use the strategy that I'll be discussing further in this webinar today. And while I'll be speaking mainly about LinkedIn and blogs, but you could use this for any of, you could use mind mapping for any of this things, use cases that I've shown here. So let's move to some examples. So let's see, and I say, content blueprint. If you see the headline is content blueprint, because it is the blueprint. Once you start using it, you will understand that you need not sit back and think, what content do I create today, or what am I going to write for tomorrow? Tomorrow, it's a busy day, so will I be inspired to write anything? So all those guesswork will be taken away once you have a foolproof mind mapping template, or what we call the content blueprint. So let's see some examples. So let me start with, a very basic example of what I did during my TEDx talk. So even before I started applying for TEDx talk, I had made this mind map. Let me show you. So if you see this mind map, I write, the heading I have given is mapping your way to TEDx, step 1. So I first wrote what is a TEDx, and the same mind map I have shared with my clients also, to help them speak on the stage, to help them prepare for a TEDx speech. So, right from what is a TEDx and what is this platform form, and what is the importance, timing, language, what is the format of this talk, and why do I want to become a TEDx speaker, what will be my action plan moving forward, and in the mind map, what kind of mind map I wish to, in my mind map, what are the things that I'll be writing, brainstorm, whatever it is. So all those things are mapped out. And once it is mapped out, the next phase becomes very easy. So even from planning, right from the planning stage, or I would even say just brainstorming stage, when I did not even start proper planning, I started making mind maps where I would just write down all of this, brainstorm that what kind of speech I'm going to give, and only moving forward. Finally, I think after 4 or 5 maps, I was crystal clear. Okay, this is the speech I want to give, and from there I prepared the final, article or the speech that I presented for 18 minutes. So yes, you can watch my TEDx speech online on YouTube. You could just type my name and TEDx and it would appear. So that was about TEDx. Coming to the main topic of the day, that is LinkedIn and blogs. So let me show you about LinkedIn. So to begin with, let me start with by showing you my LinkedIn system, how I create content by using mind mapping. So let me show you this. Okay. So if you see, let me just close it. Yeah. If you see that this is my LinkedIn system and everything is mapped out here. So let me show you branch by branch. For example, I start with frequency. How frequently am I going to post? And see, it's written that posting daily one post, and it could be either an article, which is a long post, or a short post. And when do I create? While I post daily, the creation work needs to be done mostly on weekends, either one full day, maybe a full Sunday or a full Saturday, or 2 half days. So that is how I sit down and, I create all my piece of content. And then here's a content plan for January to April. So if you see, complete content plan is here, that what is going to be posted on Monday, for example, post plus a picture. On Tuesday, book reviews, maybe on Wednesday, photographs. On Wednesday, I could even give a video of 2 to 3 minutes, like about some tutorials or behind the scenes. On Thursday, it would be mind mapping series. On Friday, it would be textual scroll. On Saturday, 8:30 a.m. in the morning, a poll would go, and in the evening, article would go. So if you see, each and every single day, it's mind map what is going to be posted. So I don't need to, guess or remember anything. I just have to go, okay, today is Wednesday, and accordingly, I just have to prepare my content. So once this is done, next is, assigning tasks. For example, my work for my LinkedIn page is to generate ideas for mind mapping carousels. Then every Wednesday, I sit, to find out, to write some kind of article on my own state, and then I want to post that. Also, I say that create content every weekend for the entire weekend schedule. Then I also have an intern whom I take help for, preparing those graphics or pictures, or I give the content and they make the carousel out of it. So I've even written that the intern should submit to me every Sunday by 2 p.m. And I give him all the materials on Monday morning. That means I give him all the materials on a Monday morning, 10 a.m., and he takes entire 6 days. And the next Sunday, he gets back to me with all the pictures and everything. So it's a complete, strategy that, okay, this is how it's going to work. And then I also have a mentor whom I meet like, once in 15 days. And it's a fully coordinated meeting where we beforehand know what exactly we are going to speak. So based on those, we talk about some business and strategic thinking. So based on that, also sometimes if I get inspired, I just, write a post for the coming week. So if you see that everything is well defined, who is going to do what, and even my mentor knows that, okay, whatever we are going to discuss, one or two out of that, some inspiration I will be taking and sharing it on LinkedIn. So it's a complete, system, and we just have to follow it to the T. Next is ideas. How do we generate ideas? So we have already written here that if it is a post plus text, then it would come from either a book that I'm reading, maybe some personal experience, maybe some testimonials that people have left a review for me on Amazon, or people also write recommendation for me on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and on, Instagram. So wherever they have written, I would just, click a picture of that and I would just put here in the branches, so that when I know, okay, today maybe on which of the day I'm going to post testimonial. So I'll just pick one from here. And suppose I'm reading a book this week. For example, right now, this week I'm reading a book called Kaizen. So whatever interesting quotes I find there, or whatever uh, personal reflections from the book that I feel like writing about, I'll just write the keywords here. I'll just create more sub branches and I'll write the keywords there. So it's more like I don't have to go back to the book again when I want to write the post. I'll just put the keywords there, and that would remind me, okay, this is what I want to write about. So all of those, then quotes. I also post sometimes like to just put a picture of mine and some quotation at the bottom and post it as a LinkedIn post. So those quotes will directly come from books, or what I do is I read from books, and then based on that inspiration, I make my own quote. So whichever way. Polls. I try to give some polls, or post some polls based on some trending topics. It may not be directly related to my niche, but some trending topics. So polls also will, so anywhere, suppose in a month, 2 or 3 times I see, okay, there's a trending topic. So let me ask people. For example, recently I asked people how important it is to be appreciated at workplace. And there's some 40, 50 people, engaged with that content. So all those kind of things. So articles, then when I say I'm going to write articles, so what are my articles going to be about? So it's going to be about Kaizen, it's going to be about my state, Assam, it could be about creativity, it could be about mind mapping, Ikigai, and a lot of things. So all of those, I have just written the keywords. So next time I don't have to wait for inspiration. I want to write an article today, let's say. I would just go and I will pick up, okay, let me write about Ikigai today. And then about Ikigai also, what I going to write today. So something like that. Then, of course, some personal experiences like lessons learned, project summaries, gratitude post, industry news, customer stories, employee highlights, so whatever it is. So it should not end here. These are just some examples. You could keep adding more and more ideas to this mind map. And the beauty of mind map is you cannot just stop that, okay, my mind map is complete today and I'm not going to revisit it. Every time a new idea comes, you could just go there and add an extra branch, and it's going to be amazing. Okay, and then yes, if you see that in this strategy, LinkedIn strategy development, I have written timings. You have to adhere strictly to the timings. That's what I want to tell myself, and that is why I have written there also in the mind map that my post should go every evening 6 p.m. Now, am I adhering to that? Not always, but at least when it is there, I know I have that feeling that, okay, today I have not done. So at least I have that awareness. And most of the days I do try to post it by 6 p.m. So all of this, then I have written that reposting anything, a poll or second post, whatever it is, if I'm posting more than once in a day, then it should be instead of evening 6 p.m. I mean, along with evening 6 p.m., the other post should go only at morning 8:30 a.m. So these are all, my own things, and it could be different for you and different for everyone based on their requirement. But basically, it's like how we develop a strategy. It's all there in a mind map. You need not do any kind of guesswork. And finally, I love to have this branch called analytics and adjustment. Here, what I do is, I try to capture the performance metrics, the audience feedback through comments, through DMs, whichever way they would like to give their feedback. And based on that, I can always adapt my post, my articles, my stories, what kind of content people want to see. Accordingly, I can always adapt based on the feedback. So if you see, it's a simple, let me just open up this. Okay. So if you see, this is a simple mind map, but it's a complete foolproof blueprint that, okay, this is how my LinkedIn system is going to work for the next 2 months or 3 months. And then you say, okay, this I'm going to change here. This Wednesday text plus photo is not working. So I'll just change it to a video maybe. So whatever changes based on your, audience feedback and performance, what is your best post, which post received the most engagement, which post received the least engagement. Based on all of that, you can always keep changing your or keep modifying your content plan or content strategy. So yeah, this was about how I use mind mapping, Xmind, for my LinkedIn system. All right, then, okay. So this was about my LinkedIn system. Next, let me share with you how I once developed a LinkedIn growth plan for one of my clients using Xmind. Okay, so if you see, we started with tracking the purpose, and what is the purpose of we want to quantify or we want to track our LinkedIn page. So based on, I mean, how many connections or followers you have, impressions, engagement, reshares, visitors. So all those type of things we want to track. So what are the things we want to track? Because the name of this mind map template is LinkedIn growth plan. So if you want to grow, you have to measure. If you want to measure, you need to know what are you going to measure. So these are the things, one can measure. So that is tracking. Then next is positioning. For example, what kind of audience specific it should not be that I'm serving just anyone and everyone, but what kind of audience would be interested in my content? So that I need to find out, position myself, then serve before selling, communicate daily. For example, maybe I could post a video or polls or articles or something every new, every day, something communicating daily. So that is also one good way of positioning yourself on LinkedIn. Then optimizing. And what is the goal of optimization? It is to attract the right kind of audience for your LinkedIn page. For example, you need to have a good, very headshot picture of yourself. The headline should be within 74 characters. You should have at least 5 hashtags which should appear on your profile top. You should update your profile headline frequently. And at the end of every post, you can either include a small pitch like, okay, how people can contact you. So all of this optimization. So once you have all of this in a mind map, you know exactly what to do and what is your way forward. That is about optimization. Next is be a content creator. Next, again, we say, okay, how many, create 600-word post and keep at least some 10 posts as a buffer. Why? Because in case if some emergency comes up and you're not able to post every day, then at least you can pick 1 or 2 from this buffer. Then, what kind of things you're going to do for video, maybe recorded videos or live stream. Lead magnets, downloadable lead magnets you can create if you're a content creator, like worksheets, multi-page summary tutorials. So it's basically trying to tell that what kind of content you can create as a content creator on LinkedIn. And then, of course, it's about networking, that you have to start working with your colleagues, alumni, connect with your ideal audience. And imagine you have to search on LinkedIn your top 100 VIP client. This will help the algorithm to search your next 1,000 similar audience. If you can find out 100, LinkedIn will search 1,000 for you. So you have to connect with more and more people who would be interested in your content. Next is you have to create a network of genuine people who are interested in your work and in whose work you are interested. So you can mutually grow and learn together. You can, join groups, create a group, promote across all platforms. So these are the different ways of networking. Next is collaborating. So you can write a collaborative post. You could write LinkedIn Live, and all of this. So maybe you can endorse your connection skills, write recommendations. So all of this could lead to you to a proper LinkedIn growth plan. And while you see, it all seems like too many things, but when you have uh, on a piece of paper or on a digital tool like this, you know exactly, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And then you can create your next, maybe you can have one map only about tracking, one map only about collaboration. Okay, this month I'm going to collaborate this way. And you create a specific mind map only for collaboration on LinkedIn. And you write down, okay, these are the 5 ways I want to collaborate with people. And you create another mind map. So it should not be that you're just creating mind map for the purpose of creating. You're creating mind map because you want to visualize how the entire strategy is, and then from there you can start taking action. So this is an example of LinkedIn growth plan. Next, let me show you blogging. Okay, so suppose, imagine that you are a blog content creator, and you want to create a blog, create you want to start writing a blog, and so you want to curate some content or maybe produce your own content, and you want to create a strategy. So let's say you start with topic selection, and then you say, okay, in topic selections, I have to first see about what are the trending issues in my niche, what are the commonly asked questions in my niche. So those two are definitely going to be there when you select your topics. Another one could be any evergreen content. Some content are always, whether you are from that niche or not, but you can always write that kind of content. So some kind of topic selection you do for your broad, I would say topic selection or theme selection broadly for your page. Okay. Then next is you do some kind of research, like primary research by interviewing people or having, coffee conversations. You create a simple Google form and conduct surveys, or you could just, have some personal experience that you would like to share as a primary research. Secondary research could include your books, articles, or existing research. And then you also do some competitor analysis, what in your niche, what are others doing? What are they writing about? So all of those you can find out and you can start writing here. For example, you say, okay, primary interview, I'm going to interview 3 people. So you write down their names. And for each of those three people, what are the kind of questions you want to ask? So write down all those also. So all of this, you can keep putting the data in a mind map. And the beauty is that it's all there in the map. So you will not be missing out on any detail. Next is what kind of content you want to create. So for example, you say what kind of content I want to create. It could be how to do this, how to do that. So in your niche, whatever how-tos are there, you could create that one. You could create some content where there are some bullet points and maybe a story. You could share some case studies in your content. So it could be just anything. Next is structure. For example, you need an introduction and hook for, you need a body which has the main points and supporting details and some conclusion, like at the end of every article or post, you want some to summarize, and you also want to have a call to action. So once you have like this, it's not that you use this structure that I'm suggesting you, but whatever structure suits your content, once you have that in place and you write it in a mind map and you know exactly, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, these are the 4 things, 4 paragraphs I have to write, or 4 lines I have to write, or whatever it is, but you have a crystal clear idea. It's not like beating around the bush. Today's content has a different structure. Tomorrow's content will have an altogether different structure. And then day after tomorrow, the content, you might not feel inspired and you might not write at all. So all those kind of things will not happen when you have a proper strategy and you use mind maps to ease the entire process. So next you see SEO, what kind of keywords are you going to use for your, article? Where are you going to promote the article? Maybe in newsletters, in social media, wherever. Then just like your LinkedIn blogs also, you can, look for your analytics and accordingly decide or accordingly adapt to your content. For example, which are your most and least popular content? On which time are your audience, at which time are your audience more available for your content? You could update some old posts, repurpose them and post it again. So all those kind of things you could do, and you could see how your entire work is getting done. So this is a simple template that I'm sharing with you here on blog content creation. So if you see here, we have shown you how you could use, content blueprint for LinkedIn system, for growth plan, for blogging, even for idea generation. Suppose you just feel you're running out of ideas, so you just create, Xmind can be downloaded, or I think we have the app even on phone. Suppose you don't want to use digital tools right away, you could just grab a piece of paper and maybe a pen or pencil or 2, 3 colors, and you could just write at the center the topic name, or maybe you could just write, okay, this theme, or let's say diversity and inclusion. This is the theme of this week. So in this theme, what are the top topics I'm going to talk about? So just start drawing at the center and then start branching out. And in each of the branches, you write down whatever thoughts are coming to your mind without judging, and let it be like 20, 30, 40, 50 thoughts, ideas or keywords. And after that, you can actually select, okay, let me go with this 5 for this week, something like that. So that also you can use mind mapping. So let's see what are the tips. The biggest tip that I would say to everyone is make it a way of life, not just that you use today and then you forget tomorrow. It should be more like anything and everything that you do related to thinking, related to writing, you start using mind map everywhere. Okay, so the tips are that start simple, use templates. Like just now I have shown you my mind mapping system, so you could use that kind of templates. Or if you want to use hand-drawn mind maps, if you are more used to pen and paper, then go for hand-drawn mind maps. If you are someone who would, want to use software tools, digital tools, go for Xmind. And you don't have to spend like 2, 3 hours per day in the beginning. You could just start with 15 to 20 minutes per day. And hence I say start simple, because when you start simple, you stay consistent. And again, very important that you should enjoy the process of mind mapping. Mind mapping should not become another chore for you. Rather, mind mapping should be giving you a kind of relaxing experience where you are more, you look inwards and you find out, okay, these are the things, whatever complex task you are being assigned, you could break them down and put it in the mind map. So it's going to be working wonderfully for you. So as we come to the end of this webinar, I would like to say once again that yes, in the context of content creation, mind mapping will aid you in brainstorming, planning, structuring, or in anything wherever you need to think and create a content. So it is very important that the content that you're writing is impactful and aligned to your goals, as I said in the beginning. And with mind mapping, that can be achieved very easily. So I hope you are interested and you are curious to learn more about mind mapping. And hence, I would say that start implementing these techniques today. And I look forward to see how you'll be using mind mapping in your life to transform the way you work, to transform the way you create content, to transform the way you think. And you could share your mind maps with me on LinkedIn. I'm available on LinkedIn. I write a lot of posts on mind mapping. You could, read those there. And I would love to have some questions from you now. So as I say that, thank you for the questions. As I see that you don't, what kind of software or hardware, you don't have to be confused about that. If you are someone who want to just use pen and paper, go for that. If you want to go for digital tools, you can start with Xmind. And so it's more about a personalized choice. It's not that this is better than that, hand-drawn is better than digital. You could just use both also, like I do. Yeah. Any more questions? Thank you so much once again. Thank you, Crystal, for inviting me uh, to this webinar. And I'm so happy to deliver this content to you. Thank you so much, everyone, for your patience. And yes, thank you.